Hey, so I wanted to do a little video, and it's more like a reminder um, what it means to really be on the fighting side of seeking justice. Um, I feel like fighting for justice is something that looks easy. Of course, a lot of people um, are quick to give their compassion and their condolences and their sympathy, um, which I greatly appreciate. And I know all the other families out there appreciate that as well. But I don't think people truly understand what it means to be in the driver's seat of fighting for justice. Um, there's so many entities that comes with that. From my perspective, being the family member, there's the grieving, there's the um, need to be present, and then there's also all of the extra things that come with that, such as social media, interviews, um, and I'll get on to that in a little bit, but there's also the advocates. And, I have a wonderful advocate that really just jumped on board and really snapped into the position like she was a professional. Her heart is pure. Um, in addition to, she really cares and she goes above and beyond to push for justice, to fight, to share Georgia's story. And I'm talking about Maria. And we both have lives. And this is coming from a perspective of people that are fighting for justice. We all have lives. Um, Me, myself, I'm married, I have children. Um, there's a business that we run. In addition to, I'm a human. Maria, she's married, she has children, she has other jobs, she has a life. Everyone out there has a life, and we still have to fight for justice. And that is not easy. It's not easy to follow up on a lead and now you're spending 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours trying to make sense of this information, or to, you know, beat down people's doors to get information, or to connect dots, or to do what we're doing, which is doing a podcast, you know, and starting from scratch, you know. And then there's also the interviews. There's people that we interview with, we're on different time zones. There's the emotional aspect that it takes to constantly relive certain details and to keep having to be in front of the camera. You know, Fighting for justice is not easy. It's not easy for anyone involved. And I wanted to make this video because I see firsthand from a lot of different involved parties how draining this is. To have to wake up and you really can't turn it off. We can try to, not be as vocal for the sake of maintaining sanity, but then the next day you kind of have to pick up where you left off, or pick up where you didn't fill in that gap. And it's so draining, so draining. The constant phone calls, the having to follow up with the police, and to have to make sure the media puts out certain things correctly, and to have to, figure out what needs to be said and how it should be said, and to not offend people, but to still maintain the truth that deserves to be shared. There's so much thought that has to go into ensuring that while we fight for justice, we're doing it correctly. That while we fight for justice, we're not burning ourselves out. That while we're fighting for justice, we are fighting for justice, that we don't lose sight of the mission. And it's hard. It's really hard. And I don't know if this was supposed to be a motivational video or insightful video. I really don't know. But it seems to be more common now from what I'm seeing, especially on Twitter and just from my life and from Maria's life, that there's this collective level of exhaustion. And for people that don't know, that are just on the receiving end of hearing these stories, and you may not truly understand what goes into being able to be composed enough to say what's going on, to be composed enough to feel like sharing. It's not easy. It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of long hours that are taken from our families to put our loved ones, the people we care about, out to the world, in hopes that one day it'll all come together, and all that hard work and all that sacrifice will finally yield the results of justice. But in the meantime, we're on the battlefield. We are literally on the battlefield. We are fighting so many different entities, and it's not easy. It is not easy. It is so exhausting, and it's not a 9 to 5 job that you can clock in and clock out, and unfortunately, we live in an era where social media is a tool we're able to use. And I'm grateful for that, because we can literally reach the world instantaneously. But with that, there's this desire for more from the audience. And rightly so, because they want to know what's going on. And I can only speak for myself. I hate being on social media. As far as me being on social media, it's like you're under a microscope, and I understand that it's a necessary sacrifice. It's not about me. It's about ensuring that when Georgia's story has an opportunity to be shared, it can be shared. And it's not easy. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for Maria. It's not easy for my family. It's not easy for my children. It's not easy for all the other families that have to fight. It's not easy for anyone involved that has to fight for justice. But unfortunately, it's necessary. So I guess to be more insightful, when you see a post, when you see an episode of a podcast, or when you see somebody sharing how they feel, understand how much of them it took to tell that to the world. Understand that while the rest of the world can be like, oh, this is my baby, oh, this is a happy moment, or got a new job, got a new car, look at my hair, look at my nails, on vacation, when we post about the fight to get justice, when we post about our loved one that is no longer with us due to a heinous crime, it takes so much to maintain, or even to try to maintain, a sense of what is right in that moment of giving it to the world. It is so hard to say, I don't like this. This is wrong, without trying to blow your lid. It is so hard to be sitting at home enjoying life or trying to enjoy life, and you come across a movie or a show or a song or a scent or a memory that makes you remember of that person that you love. And you want the world to understand that, hey, this person isn't forgotten. Please don't forget about them. And so you share it. And in that vulnerability of you sharing, there is a big possibility that you're going to log in and come across some super insensitive comments, or people that feel like you're being emotional, or, oh, we've already heard it, here we go again. Like, we don't know what right looks like. We can only do what we feel is right. And a lot of people, and this is just me speaking from my perspective, that are out there and you see them bashing the police, you see them bashing the media, you see them at a point where they're over it. It's taken a lot to get them to that point. So I say all this to say, to please be mindful that each and every family that is fighting for justice, they're doing something that they should have never had to have done. They're doing something that takes so much heart, a heart that's already broken. They still have to manage to try to be whole and still step one foot in front of the other. They still have to be present for the interviews, and if their case is going to trial, they still have to be present for all of that. So I say all of this to say that to the families fighting for justice, the families, the advocates, the loved ones, you have my utmost respect, support, and love. It's not easy. And know that I'm praying for you all as you go through this process, however long it may take. And to the audiences out there that support these families, thank you for being present. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the love. And to the people, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a small percentage, but to the people that don't care to understand that having to fight for justice for your murdered loved one or your loved one that's missing and deal with everything that comes with that, it's not easy. For those of you that don't want to understand or care about that, go play a video game. We're already under a microscope, our own microscope. That we analyze ourselves to say what more can be done, and unfortunately, there's no answer to that. No matter how much we do, will it ever be enough? We're at the mercy of certain people solving a case, certain people coming forward, certain people turning themselves in. We're at those mercies. So we're just here surviving. And it's something that if you're not a part of, you will never understand. No amount of watching true crime shows, no amount of movies, no amount of hearing us say it will give you a true in-depth feeling as to what it means to sit down and plan each and every day around praying and hoping and maintaining that positivity to say, you know what? Justice is still coming. One more post, one more episode, one more design of a shirt, one more hashtag, one more can be that thing that brings a little bit of closure. So, to my advocate, Maria, I love you and thank you for everything that you do. To all of the families out there, I love you and I stand with you and I'm praying for your day for justice. To all of our followers, thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And that's all I have to say.